A Christian sister got pregnant and the church decided to discipline her since she was not married. When the elders of the church met and interviewed her, she told them that she had stayed and remained in the church for several years and no one is marrying her. And she is approaching the age of menopause where she can't get pregnant even if married. So, after reading some Christian journals on the issue, she decided and did artificial insemination since she too wants a child. She tendered both the medical journals and medical documents that shows that she has done the artificial insemination from a reputable hospital. The sister is pregnant without committing fornication nor adultery with any man. Now, the question is, could this be a sin? Hi, my name is Reverend Father Isaac Enim Adukwame, SVD, and I welcome you warmly to the Faith Forum. Artificial insemination, or what in medical terms they call Invitro Fertilization, is a process where a child is conceived in a laboratory. So with this process, you only need what is needed to make a baby. You don't really need the two people to come together to make love, to be able to make a child. So, for some time now, people have been calling children who come out from IVF or in vitro fertilization as test tube babies because they were produced from a test tube. Now, let me tell you how this whole thing is done. So, the basics of having artificial insemination is that the things that are needed, the ingredients that are needed has to be collected. The first ingredient that is needed is a sperm that has to be donated by a donor. The question is, how does the donor donate this sperm? How does the person come and give the sperm? We all know that sperms are not like urine that flows when we want them to flow. If you want sperms to flow, you have to engage in a sexual activity. So, probably, before the person can donate that sperm, the person has to masturbate. And masturbation has a moral issue. And that is the first ingredient that is needed. Secondly, eggs of a woman is harvested from the woman. Now, when these two is done, then there is a laboratory person who takes the egg and then the semen and puts them together to form a unique genetical baby. When this doctor puts the sperm and then the egg together, scientifically it forms an embryo. Now, the embryo is the beginning of human life. That is how human life starts. If you read Jeremiah chapter 1, it says that before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Therefore, when the embryo is formed, God comes to live in the embryo. That is where the human nature, the human being gets his life from. So you could see that from the beginning, even in the test tube, God is present in that child. But then the problem comes here. When the doctor has finished creating the embryos, sometimes the embryos that are created are more than what is needed. So, they select 1, 2, 3, or 4 of the embryos and then they implant it in the mother's wombs in hope that the things they have implanted will grow after 9 months and then become a baby. Now, the success rate of all these things is just around 30 to 35%. Just 30 to 35%. So you see how the process starts from. From harvesting, we go to the laboratory, now it has been implanted. The church, especially the Catholic Church, sees it that the only way that babies, new human beings, can be created into the world is through sex. The church sees sex as an act of love. An act where two people share their love together and God, if He wants, gives them a child. Therefore, it is a gift that God has given to them and God decides whether He gives them a child out of that action or not. So, from the Christian point of view, having children is not a right. It is a gift from God. Therefore, God in His own way rewards a couple by giving them a child. It's a gift from him. So it is not your right to have a child. It is not your right to force to have a child. Now, the Catholic Church believes that in vitro fertilization cannot be accepted because it removes conception from the marital act, and then because it treats babies as products to be manipulated. And if you manipulate babies, it violates the child's integrity as a human being with an immortal soul from the moment of conception. The Catechism of the Catholic Church, CCC, number 2376, states that techniques that entail the disassociation of husband and wife by the intrusion of a person other than the couple, for example, donation of sperms or ovum, surrogate uterus, are gravely immoral. These techniques infringe the child's right to be born of a father and a mother known to him and bound to each other by marriage. They betray the spouse's right to become a father and a mother only through each other. So the Catechism just confirmed all the theology I've been trying to say. So according to statistics, for every single live birth in IVF or artificial insemination, 5 embryos are destroyed. This means that before one person could be born out of this process, 5 children have to be killed. Pope Benedict XVI had told researchers that IVF embryos have a right to live even before implementation. So if God lives in the embryos, if God is sitting in those embryos, then they have no right to kill them after they have gotten one which is very successful. Another problem with this process is what we call the selective reduction. What is selective reduction? After several embryos have been implanted into the woman one time, at the early stages of pregnancy, they examine the embryos and see how they are growing. So maybe they find out that this embryo here is defective. When the child grows, the child is going to have Down syndrome. Or maybe when the child is not going to be very intelligent or something, they are going to inject the woman with potassium chloride and kill those babies that they feel that they don't have the right to live because they don't meet their human criteria. In a case when these embryos are not destroyed or are not killed, they are put into fridges. So as we are speaking right now, about 1 million plus children are sitting in a fridge somewhere, waiting for someone to come for them to be implanted. This could be avoided if the process was not started in the first place. Trust me, I am from Africa, and I understand how it feels when you're a woman and you are married and you don't have a child. I really understand how it feels. The stigma that is attached to it, all the name callings that you get. But then, think about this process. Is it worth it to kill over 10 people to get only one person? And think about this. If children are gifts from God, some have lost their parents. So adoption is also an option. It is not everybody who is supposed to have a child. It is not everybody who is supposed to have the joy of motherhood. But everybody can be a mother to somebody if you try your best to take every child as your own child. Therefore, the church invites you. The church is telling you that, look, it is not like we don't think about you. We don't think about your plight, but then there are other ways of doing this. And one way is what we call the NAPRO technology. I have good news for all of you. There is much hope in the area of research when it comes to infertility, because Dr. Thomas Hilgers, who started the Pope Paul VI Institute for the Study of Human Reproduction in 1985, has developed a new scientific approach to treating infertility and other women's health disorders. He developed what he called the NAPRO technology, which stands for Natural Productive Technology. Now, what does this do? It evaluates the causes of infertility in a woman and tries to use natural means to solve those issues. After all those issues have been identified and have been treated, then the woman can give birth like any other normal woman and will not need any in vitro to do this. Before I deliver the judgment, the woman has a child. We are all happy that the woman has a child. But then I'll be quick to add that the process that brought her the child is sinful. It is sinful in the sense that you can't go and create a baby because you are growing. Her reasons for going to do that was that she is getting to the age of menopause. Therefore, it means that she lost the hope that she had in God. That she felt that as she grows, she cannot get anyone to marry her. And also, she is serving as a bad example for others. That when somebody just needs a child, the person doesn't need a man. The person needs to go to the hospital and then get a child. So from this angle, I'll say that it is a sin. And I will not encourage anyone to do that. So it's a beautiful year, 2023. We thank God that we have all made it to 2023. And I'm happy to sit in front of you once again and talk about issues of the faith. Happy New Year to all of you. And if you like the video, please hit the like button. If you don't like it too, feel free to dislike it, but then tell me why you don't like the video. Feel free to comment about the video, share it with your brothers and sisters, to your friends, and let us see. Let's get a conversation going. Do you think this woman committed a sin or not? Once again, my name is Reverend Father Isaac Nana Kwame Enim Ado SVD, and this has been your Faith Forum.